The planet was quiet now, but the signs of war were everywhere. Burned trees, broken houses, and deep craters in the ground showed how bad the fighting had been. Smoke still rose from some places. It had been a week since the last battle, and the human army was slowly pulling back from the area. Lyra, a young alien girl with pale blue skin and bright silver eyes, sat alone behind a wall of stones. Her clothes were torn, and her hands were dirty. She had not eaten in 2 days. Her village was gone. Her parents were gone. She did not know if anyone she loved was still alive. She had tried to cry, but no more tears would come. The hunger and fear were too strong now. All she could do was sit still and try not to make a sound. She had seen what happened when the soldiers found someone. Even the ones in clean armor with human faces could be scary. That day, a small group of human soldiers was walking through the ruins. They were looking for anything left behind. Food, weapons, maybe enemies. One of them, a young man named Jake Carter, walked a little further away from his group. He was tall and thin, with kind brown eyes and short dark hair. He was tired, like all soldiers, but he still looked around carefully. As he passed the wall, he heard a small sound. It was soft, like someone breathing. He stopped and looked. Behind the rocks, he saw her Lyra. She froze when she saw him, her eyes wide with fear, her small hands shaking. Jake did not raise his weapon. He did not call for help. He slowly took off his helmet and knelt down. "Hey," he said gently. "It's okay. I'm not going to hurt you." Lyra did not move. She looked at him, not sure what to do. She had heard humans spoke many lies. Jake reached into his pack and pulled out a small food bar. He opened it and placed it on the ground in front of him. "Here, you can have it." The smell of food made Lyra's stomach hurt. She wanted it so badly, but she was still scared. Jake pushed the food a little closer to her and then moved back. After a few minutes, Lyra crawled forward and grabbed the bar. She ate it quickly, almost too fast to taste it. Jake smiled. "You're safe now. What's your name?" She looked at him carefully. "Lyra," she said in a soft voice. "I'm Jake. Nice to meet you, Lyra." For a moment, they just looked at each other. Two people from different worlds, both changed by war. Jake looked around. He knew he could not take her with him. His unit would not allow it, but he could not leave her there either. "Come with me," he said. "I'll find a safe place for you." Lyra hesitated, but then she stood up. She was small, just a child, and very thin. Jake gave her a blanket from his bag and wrapped it around her shoulders. They walked quietly through the ruins. Jake kept her close, but told her to hide if she saw other soldiers. After some time, they reached a small camp. It was hidden in the trees, where a few alien survivors were staying. Some were wounded, others just scared. Jake talked to a woman there, an older alien who looked kind. He told her about Lyra and asked if she could stay. The woman nodded. Lyra looked at Jake, not sure what was happening. Jake knelt down again and took something from his pocket. It was a small toy, a plastic figure of a brave human hero. He gave it to her. "Keep this, so you remember. There are good humans, too." Lyra held the toy close. She did not understand everything, but she felt something in her chest. Hope. Jake stood up. "I have to go now, but you'll be okay. Be strong." She watched him walk away, back into the smoke and dust. She wanted to call out, but she stayed quiet. That day, a simple act of kindness changed her life. She did not forget the soldier with kind eyes who gave her food, warmth, and hope. Even after many years, she would remember him. She would remember Jake Carter. Many years had passed since the war ended. The planets had started to rebuild. Humans and aliens were no longer enemies. There was peace now, and people were learning to live together. The pain of the war still lived in memories, but the fighting had stopped. Lyra was no longer a small girl. She had grown into a young woman. Her silver eyes still shone brightly, and her blue skin had healed from the past. She lived in the capital city of her planet, which had been rebuilt after the war. It was full of life, with markets, schools, and new homes. But even with all the changes, Lyra still remembered the human soldier who had saved her. She kept the small toy figure he gave her in a wooden box. Sometimes late at night, she would take it out and hold it in her hands. She had never forgotten. His name Jake Carter. She wondered where he was now. Did he remember her too? Was he safe? One day, Lyra heard about a new peace program. It was a cultural exchange between humans and aliens. Young adults from each planet could visit the other world, learn their ways, and make friends. The idea excited her. It was a chance to visit Earth, the human home planet. Maybe, just maybe, she could find Jake. She applied for the program and was accepted. Her parents, who had survived the war and found her years ago, were proud. They remembered how she had come back to them, thin and quiet, holding the toy soldier. Now she was strong and ready for a new journey. Lyra traveled to Earth with a group of alien students. They flew in a large ship made by both humans and aliens. It was her first time leaving her planet. She looked out the window and saw stars passing by. Her heart beat fast. She was going to Earth, the place where Jake came from. When they arrived, Lyra stepped onto the ground and looked around. Earth was different from her home. It had green trees, blue skies, and tall buildings. The air was warm, and people smiled as they welcomed them. The humans showed them around, gave them food, and helped them feel at home. Lyra joined classes to learn about human history and culture. She enjoyed visiting parks, museums, and old war sites. One day, they went to a war memorial. It was a large wall with the names of soldiers who had died. Lyra felt nervous. She slowly walked along the wall, searching for a name. Jake Carter. She looked again. His name was not there. Her hand shook. She asked a guide nearby, "Do you know about a soldier named Jake Carter?" The guide thought for a moment. Then he smiled. "Yes, I think I do. He's not dead. He works in a small town helping other soldiers. He's a good man." Lyra felt tears in her eyes. He was alive. She thanked the guide and went back to her room. That night, she sat by the window, looking at the stars. She held the toy figure in her hands. She had found him. The next day, she asked the leaders of the program if she could travel to the small town. They agreed. It was not far. A train would take her there in a few hours. She packed a small bag and left early in the morning. As the train moved through the countryside, Lyra saw forests, rivers, and small houses. It was quiet and peaceful. She thought about what she would say when she met him. Would he remember her? Would he be happy to see her? When she arrived in the town, she walked to the Veterans Center where he worked. It was a simple building with a garden outside. She stood at the gate for a while, her heart beating fast. Then she walked in. The place was calm. Some humans were sitting and talking. Others were working in the garden. Then she saw him. Jake Carter. He was older now, with a beard and some gray hair, but his eyes were still the same, kind and warm. He was helping a man plant flowers. Lyra stepped closer. She didn't know what to say, so she took the small toy from her bag and held it out. Jake looked up. He saw her. Then he saw the toy. For a moment, he said nothing. Then he smiled. "Lyra?" She nodded. Jake dropped the tool in his hand and stood up. He walked to her and looked at her face. "You grew up. You remembered." Lyra smiled. "You saved me. I had to find you." They stood there, quiet for a while. Then Jake laughed softly. "I never thought I'd see you again." And so, after many years, the human soldier and the alien girl met again. Not in war, but in peace. Lyra sat with Jake on a bench near the garden. The flowers around them moved gently in the wind. It was peaceful. They talked for hours. At first, the words came slowly, but soon they flowed easily. Jake told her about his life after the war. He had gone back to Earth and tried to forget the things he saw. He had trouble sleeping and often felt lost. Then he started helping other soldiers. Talking to them made him feel better. Now, he worked at the Veterans Center. He planted flowers and helped people find peace. Lyra listened closely. She told him about her life, too. After the war, she was found by her parents. They were hurt, but alive. They had been looking for her for days. When she returned, she was quiet and afraid, but she got better with time. She never forgot Jake. She kept the toy and waited for a day when she could meet him again. Jake was surprised. He never thought a small act could mean so much. He smiled and looked at the toy figure. It was a little worn now, but still whole. I just wanted to help, he said. You did more than help, Lyra replied. You gave me hope. The next few days, Lyra stayed in the town. She visited the center every morning. She helped Jake and the others. She listened to the stories of the veterans and shared her own. People liked her. She was calm and kind. Jake felt something change inside him. He had lived a quiet life for years, but now he felt awake again. Lyra brought light into the center. The other veterans smiled more. The garden looked brighter. Even the birds seemed to sing louder. One day, Jake and Lyra walked along a small river near the town. The water was clear, and the sun was warm. I think I was meant to find you again, she said. Jake looked at her. I think so, too. They sat by the water and watched the sky. Lyra told him about her dream. She wanted to help build peace between humans and aliens. She believed that people could learn from each other. She believed that friendship could grow from even the worst times. Jake nodded. You're right. We've seen what war does. Peace is harder, but better. Later, at the center, Lyra helped teach a class. She showed some alien ways of healing. Simple things like breathing, movement, and quiet thinking. The veterans found it helpful. Jake watched her and felt proud. She had grown so much since the day he found her in the ruins, but peace was still fragile. Not everyone was happy with the human-alien programs. Some people believed they should not mix. Some feared the past would return. There were whispers of a rogue alien group that wanted to stop the peace talks. One night, Lyra walked home alone from the center. The streets were quiet, and the lights were dim. She felt like someone was watching her. She walked faster. Then, a shadow moved. 3 figures stepped out in front of her. They wore dark clothes and covered their faces. One of them spoke in her language. You don't belong here. Go back. Lyra stood still. She did not want to fight, but she would not run. Suddenly, a voice called out, Hey, leave her alone. It was Jake. He had come to check on her. He ran toward them without fear. The figures turned and ran into the dark. Jake reached Lyra and looked at her. Are you okay? She nodded. Thanks to you, again. Jake called the local guards and told them what happened. An investigation began. It turned out the attackers were part of a small group that wanted to break the peace. The leaders of Earth and the alien planet acted fast. They found the group's base and stopped their plans before they could do more harm. Lyra was safe. But the danger made her and Jake understand something important. Peace was not just a dream. It had to be protected. It had to be worked on every day. After that, Jake and Lyra started speaking at schools and events. They shared their story. A soldier and a girl from opposite sides, now friends. Their story gave people hope. Jake looked at Lyra one day and said, You've helped me heal. I didn't know I needed that. Lyra smiled. You healed me first. Now we help others. And so, what began as a rescue in a war turned into a bond stronger than fear. A friendship that brought light to a dark time. And it was only the beginning. Lyra continued to stay in the small town. The people there accepted her more with each passing day. She walked through the streets and waved at shopkeepers. Children smiled at her. She smiled back. Her time with Jake had changed her life. And now, she was changing the lives of others. Every morning, she came to the Veterans Center. She helped in the garden, talked to the veterans, and sometimes cooked meals with the staff. Jake worked beside her. They shared quiet moments, but they also laughed together. Jake had not laughed like this in many years. Before Lyra came, he lived each day the same way: work, eat, sleep. But now, the days felt different. He looked forward to seeing her. He enjoyed her stories, her calm voice, and the way she looked at the world with hope. One afternoon, Jake and Lyra sat on the porch at the center. The sun was low in the sky. A soft breeze moved through the trees. "You've made this place feel alive," Jake said. Lyra looked at him. It was already alive. "You just didn't see it." Jake smiled. "Maybe. Or maybe I need you to see it again." They sat in silence for a while, listening to birds. Then Lyra spoke. "I have to return to my planet soon. The program ends next week." Jake felt his chest tighten. He knew this day would come, but he had hoped for more time. "Do you want to go back?" he asked. Lyra nodded slowly. "Yes, my family is there. My people need me, but I wish I could stay longer." Jake looked away. He didn't want her to see his eyes. "You helped a lot of people." "Here," he said. "So have you," she replied. Later that night, Lyra sat in her room. She looked at the small toy figure again. It reminded her of the first time she saw Jake. He had looked different, then tired, dirty, and young, but he had been kind. He had saved her without asking for anything. Now, they were friends. Maybe more than friends. The next day, a meeting was held at the town hall. Leaders from Earth and the alien planet were visiting. They wanted to hear stories from the exchange program. Jake and Lyra were asked to speak. The room was full. People listened as Jake spoke first. He told them about his life during and after the war. Then he told them about the day he found a scared alien girl hiding behind stones. "I gave her food and a toy," he said. "I didn't think I'd ever see her again, but she remembered. She found me, and now she helps others heal." People clapped. Some wiped their eyes, then Lyra stood up. She looked at the crowd and took a deep breath. "I was afraid of humans. I thought they were all bad, but one human showed me kindness. I never forgot. He showed me that peace is possible, and that even one small act can change a life." More people clapped. The leaders were impressed. They thanked Jake and Lyra. They said their story gave hope to both worlds. After the meeting, Jake and Lyra walked outside. The stars were starting to show in the sky. "That was brave," Jake said. "You were brave first," Lyra replied. He looked at her, his voice soft. "What if I don't want you to leave?" Lyra looked down. Her hands touched the toy figure in her pocket. "I don't want to leave either, but I must. My people need voices like mine, and maybe I can return someday." Jake nodded. He understood. He had always known she would go, but it still hurt. A few days later, it was time for Lyra to leave. The train station was quiet. Jake stood with her as the train waited. "Promise me something," Jake said. "Anything. Promise you'll keep telling our story, that you'll help others believe in peace." Lyra smiled. "I promise, and you must do the same." He nodded. Then she hugged him. It was a warm, long hug, one that said more than words. She stepped onto the train and found a seat by the window. As the train began to move, she waved. Jake waved back, watching until the train was out of sight. He stood there for a long time. Back at the center, things felt quieter, but Jake knew it wasn't the end. It was a new beginning. He still had work to do. He still had people to help. And far away, on another planet, Lyra did the same. Their story had started in war, but it now lived in peace. And in the hearts of many, it would never be forgotten. Lyra returned to her planet with a full heart. Her family welcomed her with open arms. They were proud of what she had done on Earth. She told them everything about the veterans, the garden, the people she met, and about Jake. Her world was changing too. The leaders were working hard to keep peace with Earth. New schools were being built. Trade was growing. But not everyone was happy. Some still remembered the war and felt afraid or angry. Lyra wanted to help bring change. She joined a peace group that visited different towns. They talked to people, listened to their fears, and tried to build trust between humans and aliens. Lyra spoke about her own story. She showed them the toy Jake had given her. It helped people understand that not all humans were bad. Every night, she looked up at the stars and thought of Jake. They sent messages to each other. They shared stories and pictures. Their friendship stayed strong even from far away. One day, Lyra was invited to speak at a large peace event. It was being held in the capital. Leaders from both planets would attend. She was nervous but excited. She wanted to speak about Hope. As she stood on the stage, she looked at the crowd. There were humans and aliens sitting together. She smiled. "When I was a little girl," she said, "I thought the war would never end. I was scared. I lost my home. But one day, a soldier gave me food and a small toy. That small act saved me. It showed me that kindness can grow even in dark times." People clapped. Some stood up to cheer. After the speech, many came to speak with her. They wanted to hear more about Jake. Some even asked if she loved him. Lyra would only smile and say, "He is very special to me." A few weeks later, she got a message from Jake. He was coming to her planet. The Veterans Center had started a new exchange program, and Jake was chosen to join. Lyra was surprised and happy. She could not wait to see him again. When Jake arrived, Lyra was there to welcome him. They hugged like old friends. But this time, it felt different. The time apart had made their bond stronger. Jake stayed in the capital with other visitors. Every day, he and Lyra worked together. They visited schools, talked to leaders, and planted gardens in empty spaces. Jake learned more about her world. He saw its beauty and its pain. He also saw the anger in some people. Not everyone liked seeing a human in their town. One day, as they walked through a small village, someone threw a rock. It hit the wall near Jake. Lyra stood in front of him. "Stop! He is my friend. He is not your enemy." The person ran away, but the message was clear. Some still hated. Jake sat quietly that night. "Maybe I should go back," he said. "I don't want to bring danger to you." Lyra shook her head. "No, you are needed here. We cannot let fear win." Together they planned more events. They brought people together to share meals and music. Slowly, the fear began to fade. One evening, they sat under the stars. The sky looked like the one on Earth. "You once asked me to promise something," Lyra said. Jake looked at her. "Yes, to tell our story. I've kept that promise," she said. "But I want to make a new one." "What is it?" "I want us to keep working together. Not just now, but always." Jake smiled. "Then let's make it our mission. Peace and friendship. One step at a time." They shook hands, but their eyes said more. From that day, they became symbols of what was possible. Two people from different worlds, once separated by war, now standing side by side for peace. The road was not easy. Some days were hard. But they kept going. Because they believed God in the hearts of many, Jake and Lyra were more than friends. They were a light in the dark. A reminder that even in the worst times, good can grow. And their story was still being written. Jake stayed longer on Lyra's planet than he had planned. Each day, he and Lyra worked on small projects. They planted trees in broken places. They spoke at schools. They listened to people who still hurt from the war. Slowly, they helped. Many hearts opened. One morning, Lyra and Jake visited a town near the old battlefields. This place had seen great loss. People there did not trust humans. Some still lived in damaged homes. Children had never seen peace. Lyra stood before them. "This is Jake," she said. "He helped me when I was just a child. He did not see me as an alien. He saw me as someone who needed help." Jake spoke next. "War took a lot from all of us. But peace can give us more. I am here to learn, to listen, and to help." A few people nodded. Some still looked unsure. But one little girl stepped forward. She handed Jake a flower. It was small and yellow. "Thank you for helping her," the girl said. Jake knelt and smiled. "Thank you for this? It means a lot." That evening, Jake and Lyra sat by a fire. The stars were bright. "Do you think we're making a difference?" Jake asked. Lyra nodded. Even small lights matter in the dark. But peace was still in danger. Unknown. To them, the same group that had attacked Lyra on Earth had not disappeared. They had moved to the shadows and planned something bigger. They wanted to stop the friendship between the two planets. They believed peace made their people weak, called themselves the Returners. They believed war was the only truth. And they had a plan. At a large peace conference, leaders from both worlds were coming together. It would be the biggest event since the end of the war. Jake and Lyra were invited to speak. The Returners wanted to use this event to send a message. They planted devices under the building. If no one stopped them, the peace leaders would be lost. Lyra felt something was wrong. A day before the event, she received a strange message. It had no name, but the words were clear. "Peace is a lie. Leave now or face the end." She showed it to Jake. He read it twice. "We need to tell the guards," he said. They met with the local peacekeepers and showed them the message. The guards were worried but needed proof. Jake had an idea. "Let me check the building. I know how to find hidden things. I did it during the war." Lyra went with him. They entered the building at night with 2 guards. Jake moved slowly, watching the walls and floors. Then, under the stage, he saw something strange. A box with wires. He stepped back. "It's a device. We need to clear the area. Now." The guards called for help. The building was emptied. Experts came to remove the device. They found 2 more. All of them were hidden well. If they had not been found, the peace event would have ended in disaster. News spread fast. People were shocked, but also thankful. Jake and Lyra were called heroes. They had saved many lives. The next day, the peace event still happened, but in a new place. The leaders spoke with strong voices. "We will not let fear break us," one leader said. "We stand together." Jake and Lyra stood on the stage. Jake spoke first. "I was once a soldier in a war. I saw pain, loss, and hate, but I also saw hope. I saw a little girl who survived, and now she stands beside me. We choose peace." Lyra spoke next. "Some will try to stop peace, but we must be brave. We must believe in each other. The past does not have to control our future." People clapped for a long time. The message was clear. Peace was not easy, but it was worth fighting for. After the event, Jake and Lyra sat under a tree. "You saved the day," Lyra said. Jake shook his head. "We saved it together." They looked at the sky. The stars above them were the same ones Jake had seen from Earth. "Do you miss home?" Lyra asked. "Sometimes," Jake said. "But this place feels like home now too, because you're here." Lyra smiled. "Then maybe we can build something new together." And so they did. Their work continued. The bond between the 2 worlds grew stronger. More people believed. More children learned about kindness and courage. The returners were caught. Their leaders were taken to court. Their message of hate was rejected by most. Peace held firm. And through it all, Jake and Lyra stayed together. 2 souls from different worlds, joined by one small act years ago, now building a future of light. Years passed, and the bond between Earth and Lyra's planet grew stronger. The wounds of war slowly healed. New cities rose where old ones have fallen. Children from both worlds studied together, played together, and dreamed of peaceful futures. Jake and Lyra stayed busy. They were invited to speak in many places. Their story became well known. People called them the bridge builders. They laughed at the name, but deep down, it meant something special to both of them. Jake helped train peacekeepers, humans, and aliens, who worked to stop trouble before it grew. Lyra worked with teachers, helping them write books and lessons for young minds. Together, They wrote a small book about their story. It was called One Act of Kindness. The book was simple, just like their story, but it touched many hearts. One day, a young boy on Earth wrote to them, "I want to be kind like you. I want to help someone, even if they are different." Lyra read the letter aloud. Her eyes were full of tears. "We are making a real change," she said. Jake nodded. "One heart at a time." They moved to a peaceful village between both planets, a shared land where humans and aliens lived together. It had green hills, clear lakes, and houses made with mixed styles. Their house was small, with a garden full of strange and beautiful plants from both worlds. Each morning, they walked together. They waved at neighbors, shared smiles, and sometimes helped build new homes. One spring day, a celebration was planned. It was the 10th year since the peace treaty. People from all over came to the shared village. There was music, food, and dancing. Old enemies hugged. Children played games. A large stage stood in the center of the village square. Jake and Lyra were the last to speak. Jake stepped forward. "I was just a soldier. I followed orders. I never thought one small choice would lead me here. But that day I saw a scared little girl, and I gave her food. I didn't know I was planting a seed. Now, I see what grew from it." Lyra took his hand. "I was that girl. I had nothing, but he gave me hope. Today, I see faces from two worlds smiling together. I see peace, and I believe it can last, but we must care for it. Just like a garden, peace needs time, hands, and love." The crowd cheered. Music played again. People danced under the stars. Jake and Lyra sat near the edge, watching the joy around them. Jake looked at her. "Do you ever think of that day, the one in the ruins?" She smiled. "Every day. It's the day I found my path. The day I found you." He reached into his pocket and pulled out something small. It was the same toy he had given her all those years ago. It was worn but still whole. "You kept it," she said softly. "It was never just a toy. It was a promise." They sat in silence, letting the moment wrap around them. Later, as the sky turned dark and the lights from the stars blinked above, a group of children gathered around them. "Tell us the story again," one child said. "Please," another added. Jake and Lyra laughed. They began telling their story again about war, kindness, and the bridge between two worlds. The children listened with wide eyes. When they finished, one child asked, "Will there ever be war again?" Lyra answered, "Only if we forget this story. That's why we tell it. So you will remember, and your children after you." Jake added, "And if someone ever needs help, even if they are different, don't wait. Just be kind." That's how it all began. The children promised to remember. As the night grew quiet, Jake and Lyra walked home hand in hand. Their garden glowed in the moonlight. Flowers from both worlds moved gently in the breeze. Inside, they sat by the window. Jake looked out and said, "We've come so far." Lyra nodded. "Yes, but this is only the beginning." And it was. Because the story of Jake and Lyra was not just about them. It was about hope, about healing, and about what is possible when one person chooses kindness over fear. In a universe full of stars, their light shined a little brighter, guiding others toward peace.